Tenkaichi 2 is a challenge, Kakarot!
Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2. Yeah, another one of those Dragon Ball games from my childhood. Is another one of those video games that's played a big part of my childhood. And yeah, not to mention, I'm pretty sure that this and Budokai Tenkaichi 3 were my introductions to Dragon Ball, so that's nice. And yeah, how well does Tenkaichi 2 hold up years later? Well, let's find out. Here's my review on Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2. I'm gonna see how well this game holds up today. Well, okay, it might be pretty obvious what my opinion is on it, since I've done a bunch of gameplay videos of this game on YouTube and stuff. But still, I still feel like doing a review of this game because I want to do a review of this game, going in depth with my opinion on it and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna start off with the graphics. The graphics, nice. The graphics look nice. Definitely not the best graphics I've seen in a Dragon Ball game, but they still look nice though. Nice jump up from Budokai Tenkaichi 1's graphics. Now, granted, I've never played Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 1, but I still know what the graphics in that game. I still know what the graphics on that game are like, and yeah. I think, okay, well, I wouldn't exactly call them bad graphics. I still think they're good graphics overall, but compared to this, yeah, I would probably say that they're bad graphics compared to this game. And this game's graphics are similar to Budokai Tenkaichi 3's graphics, although they're not exactly the same. There's some changes with the presentation and all that stuff, and I think that Tenkaichi 3 has better graphics, but still, the graphics ain't half bad here. Nice improvement from Budokai Tenkaichi 1's graphics. Nice graphics, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2. Alright, what's next to cover? Sound. Oh my gosh, is the game strong in this category. The game is so strong in this category. I'm a big fan of the sound of this game, and I think the sound of this game is very strong and all that stuff. Like, I like the sound effects of this game that play when you're scrolling through stuff and when you press on certain modes and all that stuff. And the soundtrack to this game, oh my gosh, don't get me started on the soundtrack of this game. I think the soundtrack of this game is awesome. This game is very awesome soundtrack-wise, in my opinion. I love the music to this game. I think it's catchy, nice, relaxing. And I think that this and Raging Blast 1 are fighting against each other on which is my favorite Dragon Ball game soundtrack ever. I love the soundtrack both of this game and Raging Blast 1, and I think it's nice, catchy, relaxing. I think it's nice, catchy, relaxing music that can really help set the mood for Dragon Ball and this game and all that stuff. And while I would still probably say that Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is a better game than this, even though I actually thought that Tenkaichi 2 was better than Tenkaichi 3 when I was little, I think that sound is one of the things that Tenkaichi 2 does better than Tenkaichi 3. Okay, so graphics, good. Soundtrack, good. And yeah, continuing on with the topic of soundtrack, another one of the songs I like in the game specifically. Some of the songs I like in the game specifically, "Sky Is in Our Hands," "Open Wings," and that song that plays in the game's intro. Songs like those. The soundtrack to this game is an absolute masterpiece in my opinion. So yeah, now let me be more specific with the game modes in this game. Okay, so now let me go on to the story mode of this game. Just call it Dragon and Adventure. Alright, let's go over the Dragon Adventure. Now, the story mode is another one of those things I think this game does better than Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Why? Because, okay, now don't get me wrong, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 has a really good story mode too, but I think that Budokai Tenkaichi 2 story mode is better. It gives you more stuff to do, and, it overall goes more in depth. Now, granted, Tenkaichi 3's story mode might have more sagas. I mean, it does cover the original Dragon Ball, whereas the original Dragon Ball is nowhere to be found in this game's story mode, but still, Tenkaichi 2's story mode goes more in depth with the sagas it covers in its story mode than Tenkaichi 3 does. There's more fights and all that stuff. It's longer here than it is in Tenkaichi 3, and it takes longer to complete the story mode of Tenkaichi 3, meaning that you have more time in the story mode than you do in the story mode of Tenkaichi 3 when you're playing it the whole way through and you're not repeating fights and all that stuff. So yeah. Another one of my favorite things about the story mode of this game is if a transformation is already unlocked for the character you're playing as in the story mode, then you can transform it in a transformation no matter what fight you're doing, even if it isn't accurate to the story mode. For example, if you already have Super Saiyan 1 unlocked for Goku, then you can go back to the Saiyan Saga, and with any fight where you play him, you can just go Super Saiyan like that. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, that's a really nice addition in my opinion. Really nice addition. And this is the only game in the Budokai Tenkaichi series that allows you to do that too. So yeah, while I've been giving the story mode praise, I am going to admit that it's not perfect. There's some flaws with the story mode, such as the fact that it sometimes covers things poorly in its story mode. Like, and it can mess up transformations and how costumes, how damaged the outfits are and all that stuff. Yeah, it can mess up stuff like that. For example, with the fight in the Majin Buu saga where Goku and Vegeta start to fight Kid Buu, it clearly shows that both Goku and Vegeta are in their base forms when they're about to fight Kid Buu. When no, that's wrong. In the show, both Goku and Vegeta were transformed into Super Saiyan 1 when Kid Buu arrived on Supreme Kai's planet, and they were both in Super Saiyan 1 before the fight with Kid Buu started. Vegeta didn't go to his base form until after he lost rock, paper, scissors with Goku, and Goku didn't go back to his base form until later on with that fight against Kid Buu. Another thing, another example of the story mode messing up stuff is in the last fight, BoJack Unbound. Even though they clearly give you a scene, they clearly show you a scene of Gohan going Super Saiyan 2 and all that stuff, getting ready to fight. For some reason, when you start that final fight, after they show you that cutscene, you start out playing as base form Gohan. What the heck is up with that? What's up with that? Why? You clearly just gave us a cutscene of him going Super Saiyan 2. Why? That means the fight should start with him being already being transformed into Super Saiyan 2. Why do we have to transform all the way to Super Saiyan 2 during the fight? Yeah, and another flaw with that story fight is you fight Zanya for that final battle, which is also stupid. I mean, come on. Why should we fight Zanya? Gohan clearly, seriously, they clearly should have only had us fight BoJack for that final battle. I don't remember Gohan ever fighting Zanya in that BoJack Unbound movie. Clearly, Zanya was too scared to fight Gohan in the film, and BoJack killed her butt before Gohan and Zanya could even fight each other. So why should we fight Zanya? We should clearly just fight BoJack. Stupid. Another example of there being mess-ups in the story mode is how in the first fight of Cooler's Revenge, they clearly do that fight with Goku against Cooler's henchmen, but they only have one of Cooler's henchmen in the game, which is Salza. They don't have either of his other two henchmen in this game. So yeah, in that first fight, you just only fight Salza instead of fighting all three of Salza's of Cooler's henchmen. And guess what? They have you take Goku and Krillin and team up with each other against Salza. Okay, Goku, yeah, he should sure as heck be in this fight, but why Krillin? Why Krillin? Yeah, sure, he got knocked down by one of Cooler's henchmen, but still, he never actually fought any of Cooler's henchmen until Salza burnt the bag of sensu beans. What? Yeah, and another mess up in this saga is during the final fight, where you play as Goku and you team up with Kid Gohan and Krillin against Cooler's final form. Okay, when the heck did Krillin or Gohan fight Cooler? Seriously, why should they be in the fight? They never fought Cooler at all. What? Why are they in the fight? Makes no sense. Yeah, and one final example of the story mode messing up stuff is how at some point during the right before Vegeta shows up, at the scene where Goku saves Vegeta in the second Cooler movie, in the Return of Cooler saga, they clearly show Goku's outfit being torn up, and they clearly show Goku being all beat up, Goku's outfit being torn up, when no, that's a mess up. Clearly Goku's outfit wasn't sure being that torn up until him and Vegeta got shot as he was carrying Vegeta, so another mess up there. There's other mess ups I could cover, but I think I've covered them enough. Yeah, but despite those mess ups, they don't take too much away from the enjoyment of the story mode. And and another cool thing about the story mode is that there's some cool what ifs. There's some cool what ifs in here, such as Faithful Brothers and Beautiful Tekkeri. Sorry I can't pronounce that word correctly, but yeah, whatever that saga is. And Faithful Brothers, which I'd say were extras for the Saiyan and Frieza sagas. And their fights were in the Faithful Brothers. You can play as Raditz during every fight in that saga, and in this saga over here, you can play as Zarbon in every fight in that saga. And another what thing to add into the story mode is something called Faithful Brothers, which I'd say is an extra for the Majin Buu saga. And it's one of the and it's also the saga that helps you unlock Grade 8 too, and that's good. And speaking of that, this saga helps you. You can also unlock every character. You can also unlock some of the characters off of the story mode, but you can't unlock every single unlockable character off of the story mode. No, there's some characters you have to unlock through the item fusion thing that's in this game. But the story mode, helps you get the Z items you need to unlock the characters you can unlock from the Z item fusion. So that's nice. So yeah, really, it's impossible. I'd say it's impossible to not unlock any characters. To be able to unlock any characters in the story mode without to unlock any characters in the game without doing the story mode. Okay, so yeah, overall the story mode, despite its flaws, it still works really nice and definitely better than Tenkaichi 3 story mode. Okay, moving on. Okay, I'm gonna go over Dragon Tournament, another game mode in the game. So a Dragon Tournament, it gives you the option of 3 tournaments to pick from. 2 of them you have to unlock, and only one of them starter. So yeah, you get World Tournament, Cell Games, and World Martial Arts Big Tournament. And yeah, if I remember correctly, World Martial Arts Big Tournament wasn't in Tenkaichi 1. Although World Tournament and Cell Games were in Tenkaichi 1 and then make a comeback here. And yeah, tournament mode is a mode in this game. And you can get money from tournament by either winning the tournament or being a runner-up in tournament. There's also some unlockable characters that you can fight within tournament mode, but you can't unlock those characters by fighting them in tournament mode. Nope, you have to... Nope, the story mode will help you out better with that. Yeah, not much else to say about tournament mode. It works like it should and overall works really well. It's definitely my main thing, my main place to go for when I want to get money in this game. Another game mode to cover in this game, Ultimate Battle Z. Ultimate Battle Z is an option where, okay, it basically gives you a list of the characters to fight. And, you know, it gives you, okay, you can pick a list of characters to fight. And, you know, you pick the character you want to play. You pick the character you want to play as. And basically go down that whole list with said character. And it goes on until either you quit or you die or you beat everyone on that list. The problem I have with this game, the problem I have with this mode in this game though, is if you stop the game, or like if you leave the mode or if you turn the game off before you finish the fight, even if you haven't already lost yet, it doesn't save your progress. So that means when you have to go back to it, when you haven't already finished it, you have to start the whole thing all over. Even if you didn't lose while doing that fights list and all that stuff. Yeah, so that's a pretty big problem I have with this. Besides, this mode still works really well. It's a nice mode to go to when you want money and all that stuff. It's a good ranking thing, and it's fun to do. Okay, moving on. There's also a nice Dragon Library thing that this game has that allows you to research the characters that you have in the game, get to know some stuff about them, and all that stuff. And there's also the Dragon Test thing right there, and there's also the sound select thing right here that allows you to listen to music that's in the game. There's also Data Center, which allows you to create your own password characters, see the catalog of the fighters you have created, and there's also some kind of fusion thing that's in this game. It's in the PS2 version, but it's not in the Wii version, and it's basically something that allows you to get money if you have the Budokai Tenkaichi 1 version of this game. If you have the Budokai Tenkaichi 1 version of this game, and this only works for PS2. The reason why it only works for PS2 is because the Budokai Tenkaichi 1 game is the one and only Budokai Tenkaichi game that's not suitable for Wii, because the Wii wasn't out yet at the time. So yeah, this Budokai Tenkaichi 2 and 3 are for the Wii, but not Budokai Tenkaichi 1 because the Wii didn't exist because the Wii wasn't out yet in 2005, and that's the year the game came out. So yeah, because of that, that little fusion thing is not in the Wii version of this game. And I only have the Wii version of this game, so I can't do that at all in this game. Item Shop is a thing where you can sell Z items for money, and you can also buy Z items with the money you have earned in the game. Next mode to cover, Ultimate Training. Okay, so Ultimate Training. There's 2 different types of training there's 2 different types of modes you can do in this mode. There's training and practice. Training is a mode where you can practice movement, flying, dragon dash, ki, rush attack, throw, smash attack, all that stuff. And practice is basically where you just pick 2 characters. You just pick a character you want to play as, and a character you want to fight against. Practice your moves on. You get to pick the music stage, all that stuff. So yeah, I'd say this one feels more freely than the other mode in this game. Although there is a pretty big problem that I have with the mode in this game though. When you first enter, the computer is active. The computer is active when you first enter, so that means it can kick your butt right at the start of the, not too long after the match is starting. Now, granted, there is a stand option, so it's a problem that could be easily fixed, but still, why should the computer be active when we first enter? If we wanted to fight the computer, why would we go... If we wanted to fight the computer, don't you think we would go to versus and not training? We're here to practice our moves, not do all-out fights against the computer! But with that, though, I'd still say this mode works very well for when you want to practice your moves and all that stuff without the computer you know, getting in the way and, you know, getting in the way of you practicing your attacks and all that stuff. Okay, moving on. Next up, Evolution Z. Okay, so Evolution Z is that mode that has that item fusion thing that I was talking about earlier when I was talking about the story mode. And this is also where you can customize your characters in this game. And yeah, it works well. You have one setup, unlike in Tenkaichi 3, where you have 3 steps, but it still works well. It still works well. You can customize your characters and all that stuff. Boost to helps up, a boost to health up, boost to Q's up, a boost to Q's up, and all that stuff. And yeah, all that stuff. And it's a nice customization thing. Although, if you want your customized character, you know, the stuff for your customized character to save, then you'll have to have the game on for a certain amount of time for that stuff to save. I don't know if it works the same way in the PS2 version because I've never played the PS2 version of this game, but if you want certain stuff to stay unlocked in this game, such as the characters you have unlocked through item fusion, and you know the stuff that you've used to customize your character, then you'll have to leave the game on. You'll have to leave the game on for a certain amount of time in order for that to work. Sorry guys, but that's how it works. It's annoying, but hey. It doesn't take too much away from the game if you ask me. Although it's still pretty annoying though. What makes the situation even worse is that even when the game doesn't already save the stuff you have unlocked through the Z item, the item fusion numbers will still stay the same as they were after you stopped unlocking the stuff through item fusion from the last time you played this game. Like so even though the stuff we've unlocked through the Z item fusion didn't save, that still takes up our Z item fusion numbers. How does that make sense? Stupid. One of the biggest problems I have with this game, but still doesn't take too much away from the game. Now here's some cool new things that they added into this game that they didn't put in the last game. Okay, so you remember how in Tenkaichi 1, how despite the fact that you can still pick transformations before a fight, you can't transform in battles? Well, you can now transform in battles in this game, and unlike in Budokai Tenkaichi 1, you can now do team battles, which was a nice plus. And you can also pick your costume before a fight too. So yeah, this game, every character doesn't just have one costume, unlike in Budokai Tenkaichi 1. In this game, every character has at least 2 costumes. So, now I want to go more in depth with the controls of this game. How good are the controls of this game? Well, they work fine. This game can either be played with the Wii Remote and Nunchuck. If you're playing the Wii version, then it can either be played with the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, the Wii Remote and Classic Controller, or the GameCube controller. If you're playing with the PS2, of course it can be played with the PS2 controller. Now, if you're playing with the Classic Controller, even when you're playing with the Classic Controller, the game still won't explain to you the controls for the Classic Controller. You're just gonna have to figure it out yourself. And I'd say that if you're used to Budokai Tenkaichi 3's Classic Controller controls, then it probably shouldn't be too hard for you to get used to the controls in Budokai Tenkaichi, the Classic controls in Budokai Tenkaichi 2. There's some stuff they changed, but it's still not that hard to get used to. As for the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, yes, they do explain to you the Wii Remote and Nunchuck controls, and I'm sure they do the same thing if you're playing with the GameCube controller too. And yeah, they're not as simple. I wouldn't say they're as simple as Budokai Tenkaichi 2's controls, but they're still nice and easy. But one thing that annoys me when playing with the Wii Remote and Nunchuck is that you have to point. Is that there are times where your character will be stuck on block. The character you're playing as will be stuck on block, and you have to point the Wii Remote at the sensor bar for them to stop. That's pretty annoying for me. It's pretty annoying to have to do that for me. This is why I prefer playing with the Wii Remote and Classic Controller rather than with the Wii Remote and Nunchuck. Even though they don't explain to you the Classic Controller controls in this game, it's still not that hard for me to get used to them. But yeah, despite those flaws though, I still think this game has nice controls. Okay, now next thing to cover is the character roster. Big upgrade from Budokai Tenkaichi 1's character roster. Now, Budokai Tenkaichi 1 still had a big character roster, but this game added more characters. It gives you more movie villains to play as. You get more GT characters, and there's some characters you get in this game that were in the last game, like Supreme Kai, Grandpa Gohan, Oob, etc. And yeah, this game has a pretty big and strong roster. But most of the characters you have to unlock, though, unlike in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, where it hands you most of the roster when you start to play. When most of the characters in that game are story characters, but in Budokai Tenkaichi 2, it's pretty much the other way around. Most of the characters that are in this game are unlockable characters, and you have to unlock them with the help of story mode and Z. And if you want every character in the game, you have to unlock them through story mode and Z item fusion. There's also some other unlockable characters that you don't see in the story mode of this game that you can unlock, such as King Piccolo, Cyborg Tao, Frieza Soldier, characters like those, etc. But you cannot get those. But if I'm correct, you need to have the Japan and or European versions of this game in order to get those characters. If you have like any other version of those games, if you have like any other version of the game, then I'm sorry, but you'll not be able to get those characters. But yeah, I still think the character roster works really well in this game. It's a nice step up from Budokai Tenkaichi 1's character roster, and Budokai Tenkaichi 3 would later take all those characters and add more costume and more of those characters, have more costumes for the characters and all that stuff, and improve the roster like, you know, a sequel should. And as for the costumes in this game are nice. And again, like I said earlier, this game actually lets you to pick. Has multiple costumes for the character, unlike the last game, which only had one costume for each character. But in this game, like I said before, every character has at least 2 costumes. And yeah, there's also the only Budokai Tenkaichi game that allows you to play Super Saiyan 1 Goku. That allows you to play Super Saiyan 1, 2, and 3 Goku with any costume. With any of Goku's costumes that's in the game, so that's cool. So that means you can play Super Saiyan 1 Goku, like as any of those Super Saiyan Gokus with him wearing the turtle mark outfit or the outfit that he wore when Goku fought Nappa and Frieza and Vegeta in the Saiyan Saga. You know, that outfit he wore when he became a Namek, all that stuff. So that's a nice addition. And this is the only Budokai Tenkaichi game that would allow you to do that. But later Dragon Ball games for generation consoles would, like Burst Limit and Rage and Blast would allow you, and especially the Rage and Blast games would allow you to do that again. Okay, so I think I've covered a good chunk of stuff about the game. Now, I think it's about time for me to go into my overall opinion about the game. How well does this hold up? Does this game hold up as a 17-year-old boy for me? Well, I think this game still holds up very well. I still play it to this game. Yes, it does have some flaws, but those are minor flaws that don't take too much away from the enjoyment of this game. I think this game is great, comes to a very close level of Budokai Tenkaichi 3, and I might do a review of Budokai Tenkaichi 3 one of these days. I have been starting to review Dragon Ball games recently, so I can imagine me touching upon Budokai Tenkaichi 3. And that game is another one of my favorite Dragon Ball games too. And yeah, and I think this game works really well. But yeah, Budokai Tenkaichi 3, I might still think that Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is a better game, even though I thought that Budokai Tenkaichi 2 was a better game when I was little, and my older brothers roasted it. My older brothers would, call me out on thinking 2 is better. I would still probably say that Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is the better game. But I think this game comes very close. I think both Budokai Tenkaichi 2 and Budokai Tenkaichi 3 come to a very close level to each other. And I can also imagine these 2 games being better than Budokai Tenkaichi 1. Because, they're sequels to Budokai Tenkaichi 1. Game sequels are supposed to do everything better than the original. Not saying Budokai Tenkaichi 1's bad. No, it doesn't look like a bad game at all. It does look like a good game, but it doesn't look like a game that's worthy enough for me to get a PlayStation 2 for and all that stuff. I mean, I would like to play a demo of it if I could find a demo of it and all that stuff, but like, to get PS2 and own it, I don't think I would want to go through that work to get the game. I think I'm fine with Budokai Tenkaichi 2 and Budokai Tenkaichi 3. And with Budokai Tenkaichi 2 and 3, even though I've never gotten Budokai Tenkaichi 1 before. So yeah, I still think this game works really well. Definitely not one of the best Dragon Ball games I've ever played. And how would I rate this game on a scale of 1 to 10? On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a 9. Yep, a 9 out of 10. Yeah, you might think with the stuff I've been complaining about with this game, I'll give it like at least a bit of a lower score, like 7 or 8 out of 10, but I think it gets a 9 out of 10. It's a great Dragon Ball game, has a bunch of cool stuff to offer, a bunch of things to do in this game, like normal free-for-all matches, tournament, story mode, Ultimate Z battle, gives you a good chunk of unlockables and all that stuff. And I think that this game is great. I think that this game is great. And by the way, yeah, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 would do a better job. I would probably still say that Budokai Tenkaichi 3 would do a better job. Since it's more accurate, since it feels more accurate to Dragon Ball, with certain move changes and all that stuff, and how you actually have to have the character look at a moon to transform into a Great Ape, unlike in Tenkaichi 2, where the character can just transform into a Great Ape without having to look at the moon. But I still think this game works very well, and it comes to a very close level of Budokai Tenkaichi 3. And the score is as for score, and the overall score I give it, like I said, 9 out of 10, and I think it's a really good recommendation for Dragon Ball fans. Alright, so yeah, that's all for this video, guys. Bye, everyone. That's all for this video, guys. This video is being recorded on Sunday, June 26th, 2022, but it is getting uploaded the next day, so I have a video for that day. So that's all for this review video, guys. Bye, everyone, and thank you all for watching this video.